Hello there everyone, it's Carol. Welcome back. So continuing on with some more ephemera for this inspirations journal. Sometimes you want to add maybe a photograph. Now I know that this is a cabinet card, but you could have had a photograph on the back, and you don't want to just stick it in position. You also might not own some photo mounts. So I came up with this little idea. Again, using strips of coffee dyed paper, some more scraps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this, and I'm going to grab the corner and pull it over to the edge. So that folds over like so. Right, so that's the first step. And then I'm going to fold this that way. So then that folds over like that. And then this is going to fold over to this side. So let me just bring it a little bit nearer, because I need it nearer to be able to see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so we'll end up with that, and then I'm just going to trim this excess off. So what you end up with is a small strip like that, which folds over that way, then that way, and then that way. All right, so you end up with 4 little corners. So with this spare piece, I'm going to do the same again. So I'm going to fold the corner over, other way, Carol, corner over, then fold the triangle up, and then fold the triangle over. And then trim the excess off. Okay, so I've got 4 of those. And then I've cut some squares from some of my patterned fabric that are the same size, if I pull one of those open, as there, but I've cut it a little bit shorter, and then I'm going to cut this square diagonally. So I'm just going to cut it from corner to corner, and so I've got 4 of those. And then with my glue, I'm going to put some glue on the back. Sometimes this glue comes out really fast and there's too much, so at the moment I'm not putting glue on, I'm just spreading about what I have put on. And then I'm going to stick that on that corner, and so as it's got a little border all the way around it. It says 1. Pull that one in very tightly. Let me just refold this one because it didn't fold in very tight. There we go. And then put some glue on the back of that patterned triangle. And stick it on the front. Two. Okay, that's those stuck in place. So now I can lift up that flap, and then these will then open out. Right. So I'm just going to position this cabinet card on the back of this blank page here, and then with this, that is going to sit over the top there of that corner. So I want to place glue around the right angle here, so just a thin line of glue around the right angle. And then that will sit like that. Now if you've put a directional patterned paper on, you might want to just watch out for the positioning of each of these. So I'm going to do the same on all the other three. Place glue along the two straight edges around that right angle. And then the same with the bottom two. So this means now that that picture is now held in place and can be taken out and be replaced if needs be. But it also means as well that I can open these out and I can write on those bits of paper. So I've also created myself a little bit of a writing space behind those corners. So that's an extra little piece of ephemera there that you can utilise within the journals if you want to stick a big journaling card in or a photograph. So that's this one. Now going on to the next one. The second thing that I want to show you involves this flip out page. So basically I've cut this piece of paper so it's the same height, well, fractionally shorter than the height of the page that I want to use, and I've just border punch the two corners of the pages. I've also created a flap on the back so that I can attach this page to the original journal page itself. I've left a little bit of a gap here where all the pages meet, and then I will fold that over so that I can open it up and I'll have a double page spread that I can utilise. But I've got this piece here that I folded over, so now my page width is narrower than the page that I'm sticking it onto. I'm going to use my micropore tape to attach it to the journal page and just clip that off. I'm just going to overlap it. And then I'm just going to taper those corners just a little. And then I'll be able to adhere the page to there. And then to secure the hinge part, I'll add some more micropore on this side. And so that is now hinged in place, so that I can flip that page open But as you can see, it's quite flappy. And so I want something that's going to be able to hold that down and in place. And so what I've done is I've created this little mini, almost like a paper clip, but I've magnetised it so that that will sit over the edge of the page there and onto the top of this page here, so that when I turn the whole page over, the other side of it is on here. And I've added little pockets so that you can add, that's a dictionary cutting, and then this one is a quote that I've just added into the pockets, and it just helps to keep that page nice and flat. Now there's two versions of this and I'm going to show you both of them. So let me just put that to one side a moment. So for the first one, I've got this long strip of card, which I'm just going to fold in half. And then I've cut this strip of paper, which probably wants to be trimmed down just a little bit more so that it's narrower. And I haven't cut this to any measurement, it was just a scrap piece of card. And then I'll cut one for this side. And this one will sit on the other side. And now I'm just going to ink the edges of this paper up. And the same with the piece for the other side. And then I'll stick them onto the card. One on one side and one on the other. Then I'm going to open it out, and I'm actually going to add magnets. Now I've got some teeny tiny magnets, so I'm going to position one. I just dab in a touch of glossy accents onto the bottom there. And then I'm going to sit my magnet on top of that glue. And then I'm going to use my micro pour just put a little piece over the top. So that's now going to allow that glue to dry underneath the micro pour. And also give me a layer between the two magnets, because I'm now going to get my second magnet and I'm just going to drop it so that it finds its north-south poles. Because if I put the magnets on the wrong way, they won't attract to each other. Then I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the back of that second magnet. And close them and push. And then when I open it back up, ooh, that was magic. It actually attached the magnet to the other side. Sometimes it doesn't do that, but it does leave a mark where the magnet is supposed to sit, so that they're in the same position as each other, so that when they're closed they'll attract to each other. So I just normally take the magnet off this top end and put it down this end, and then cover it with micropore again. And now they will attract to each other. So it means that I can use this as a bookmark to put over the page that I may be working on, and I could have it protruding out the top of my journal a little bit so that I can see which page I was working on. So that's the long version of a bookmark, and then of course you can decorate it up with any other images and stuff that you want. Now this one, as I say, I added pockets on the bottom. So what I did was I folded a piece of paper in half, so in exactly the same way, and then I folded one end up, flipped it over, folded the other end up to the same size, and then I opened them back out. Okay, and then down here I just cut a thin strip off down to that fold mark, and then cut across the fold mark to remove that I've just cut. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. And then cut a bit off. So I now end up with this shape, and then I can fold that up, and then these bits that are overhanging I'll just fold round to the back, trying to do it in mid-air. Don't know why I'm trying to do that. Okay, and then I'll do the same with the other one. Fold it over, and then fold those spare bits, those little flaps, round to the back. So I've now got almost like a library pocket, but it's on a long strip that's folded in half. Now what I need to do is I just need to taper off these two bottom corners here a little bit. And the same at the other end. Just because it makes it a neater finish at the bottom. Then I'm going to open the flaps back up and add a little bit of glue. And then I can fold those flaps back in, and they will now be stuck in place. Then I would attach magnets again at the top and bottom in the same way as I did on this bookmark piece. So I've got one there and one there, so I would add one top and bottom there, so that then they would snap shut. And then with a scrap piece of paper I would just decorate the front pocket a little, and it's a great way of using up all those little tiny scraps that you think, oh, that's a little bit too big to throw away, but I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I've got loads of those. I want to do a little bit more off that, just a tad. Ink it up, inky rinky dinky do, as you do. Don't know what that was all about. And then put some glue on the back of there. And I've now got a little pocket on the front, so I could add a little tiny tag in there, a little word saying, and then I'd do the same on the back, decorate that up, and then add a little card or tag in there. And then because it's magnetised, I can then hook it over the edge of a page. Like I did with this one. And as you can see on this one, look, I added some lace on the bottom. So that would just hook over there, and then that will just hold that page in place and stop it from flapping about. But also on the other side, I could just put a simple journaling card underneath, and that just holds the journaling card in place. So you get two now for the price of one. So you've got a little mini one with pockets, and then a bookmark style one as well. But they're great for just hanging over the edge of the page. So that's the second ephemera piece. I'm going to now show you a third one. This next little piece of ephemera is a page marker. And if you remember the little envelopes that I showed you in the previous video, it's made in exactly the same way as I made those. So what you need is you need a piece of paper, because you can't do it with card because the card's too heavy. So again, this is a scrap piece of coffee dyed paper, and I'm just making a little mini envelope this time. So I'm only going to fold it up a little way and then fold it down, and then trim off that excess so that that becomes a flap. And I'm going to make two of them. So if I open it out, I know what size I'm doing, because they need to be the exact same size. And then fold up. Fold up, and then that one's folded down, and then I need to fold that one down the same. So they're now the same size. So I've got two little mini envelopes, and then I'm going to have a long strip of card. So it's not a thick heavy card, it's just a piece of thin card, and I've cut this to about, let me get my ruler, I think it's about 4 inches long. Yeah, just over 4 inches by about 3/4 of an inch wide, because that fits the size of my envelopes just nicely. So I'm going to cut a little fishtail end, which is cutting up the centre and then cutting from the point to the centre, and then the same on the opposite corner. And then I'm going to cut it up the middle. To about there. Okay, so it's able to do that. And then glue. So I'm going to glue one little mini envelope on the top. And then I'm going to glue the other envelope on the back. So this piece of card now acts a little bit like a paper clip. So let's just find a page. So let's just say I was adding it onto there. So I would just split that card in half so that you've got one half on one side and one half on the other side, and then you've got your little mini envelope at the top that you can then use as a page marker. And that's that one. Now I'm going to show you something else that you can do with these envelopes as well, because I'm now going to go on to some different types of paper clips. So I've got my little mini envelopes that I showed you again how to make in the previous video, and I'm going to hook the flap part of the envelope over. You see I've got this long paper clip here, so I've got this loose edge at the top, so I'm going to hook it over the long bar at the bottom. So the paper clip is now hooked around the flap there. And then I'm going to open the flap up, and I'm going to put a piece of micropore over the top of the paper clip to hold it in place. So the paper clip is sat right on the fold line of the flap. And then it's just micropored in place, so I can close that up, fold that over, and I've now got a paper clip at the top there. So I can then add the paper clip to the side of the page, and I've got a little mini envelope here that I can then open. So that's one paper clip type version. The second paper clip I'm going to show you involves this 1/2 inch punch, and this is a Stampin' Up butterfly punch, and again some scrap pieces of paper and a paper clip. So the first thing I'm going to do is punch 2 circles and then I'm going to use my glossy accents because I'm dealing with metal, and I'm going to put some glossy accents on the back of there, and then not where the double loop is on the paper clip but the single loop. I'm going to sit that on top about halfway down, and then I'm going to put some more glossy accents on the back of that second piece of paper. And I'm going to glue the two together, and that will now act as a base for being able to attach the butterfly that I want to punch out. So it looks like that. Then with my Stampin' Up punch, I want to punch 2 of the large butterflies . punch it. There we go. So I've now got 2 little ones and 2 big ones. So I'm now going to attach my butterflies to those 2 circles. So I'm going to put some glue on the squircle. And attach the first butterfly. And then spin it over. Put some glue on the second circle. And attach the second butterfly. Now I'm not going to attach the wings to each other. You'll see why in a little bit. And then I've got some gems. Put some gems down the centre of the body. See, I've gone quiet now because I'm concentrating. Do you do that? Go quiet when you're concentrating. Or stick your tongue out the side of your mouth. That's another one, isn't it? For a sign of concentrating. Okay, so that's my paper clip ready. I'm just going to wait for the glue to dry and then I'll show you how I'm going to attach it to the page. So I'm now going to put my paper clip butterfly on. And this is the reason why I didn't glue the wings down. Because if I very carefully place the page behind the 2 bottom wings, I've got the wings from the one butterfly on this side and the wings from the other butterfly on this side. So it now means that the butterflies are showing on both sides, rather than if I'd glued them together, I would have had to have put the butterfly wings over onto one page like that. And then this side you only get half a butterfly, and on this side you'd get the full butterfly. So at least doing it where the wings aren't glued at the bottom, I've got a full butterfly on both sides. A bit fiddly. Come on, in you go. There we are. So I've now got that paper clip at the top there. And the last little paper clip I want to show you, do you remember the little hook over that we made that I would have normally put magnets on to hook that over to hold something in place, and it's got the little pockets on either side? Well, I'm going to attach these to a paper clip as well, but I'm going to add some pages to it. So I've cut again some strips down that are slightly narrower than the width of the actual little fold over, and then I'm going to fold those in half, then open them back out again. So I've just got 2 pieces there, and then I'm going to sit them in the crease of the little cover, and again using this really long arm I'm going to slip these over the top, centralize it again, and again add a little piece of micropore, so that that paper clip will sit where that fold line is. And then I can hook that over. Then I've got a little tag that I'd made from some of the scrap paper, can go in that pocket. And the little butterflies that I punched earlier, just add those with a little bit of glue. Onto the front of the pocket. And add a gem on. Oop. That one went shooting off. Come back. I think I might add 2. Live dangerously. Add 2, Carol. Yes. That one moved. There we go. And then that can clip onto the side of the page. And I've now got a little notebook to be able to use that as well. And then I'm not taking over the whole of the page. So I hope you found those extra little bits of ephemera useful. And the nice thing about these is because they're tiny, it means that you can make quite a few up in advance and have a nice little collection of them, and it's a great way of using up all these scraps. So that's it for today. See you in the next video. Bye for now.